So in 2018, our state Department of Education adopted a new digital literacy and computer science course of study. Basically, it broke down and provided strands of standards for a number of content areas, but one of those strands is for digital citizenship, and that spans all grade levels. It's for all students in grades K through 12 would be required to learn and work on certain standards specifically focused on digital citizenship. So these standards and concepts are interwoven. Your children hear about these and work with these. It's different a little bit than from a content standpoint, right? Like math or English. They're able to use that in science and social studies because they are working on devices and platforms, and the teachers in general classrooms or content areas are interweaving that into the instruction that they're providing. But they're also getting lessons targeted on those things from our library media specialist or guidance counselors all throughout the year. So it kind of is something that we use and do throughout the year in everything that they do. Also, before spring break, Detective Cruz from the Pelham Police Department met with students at both of our elementary schools, at Pelham Park Middle School and at Pelham High School, to kind of reinforce the importance of digital citizenship and the impact that their digital footprint has on their future, the presence that they provide in this digital environment that they're growing up in. So when students are at school and using a Pelham City account or a device when they're here, we have different safeguards and things that are there for them. But tonight, Detective Cruz is here so graciously to come and partner with us to share some information that he spoke with our students about, but also to kind of provide some more information and some resources for you as parents. And really, I'm excited to learn about this too, so that we can kind of help our students learn to navigate it safely, responsibly, and kind of things for us to help guide them. So, Detective Cruz, I turn it over to you.
I promise it's gonna be quick, not as painful. Um, but just like Miss Thomas was saying, I have two kids. Me and my wife live in Pelham. We work for the city of Pelham. We have two kids. So this is our community. Our daughter graduated in 2017. Um, we have a son who is a 12th grader. So this is very important for us. We're passionate about this. Not only because I see a lot of the cases, I see a lot of the kids that my daughter, my son, they're friends with, um, and it breaks my heart a lot of times whenever I see cases um, that go through, and I'm like, why? You know, when I was talking to your kids, I'm assuming elementary school, middle school, high school kids. It was a reality check for them because I could see their faces, and it's amazing just to be upfront talking to them about some of the cases that I've worked. Some of them, I've been to their houses, I've taken their cell phones, I've talked to their parents, and I told them like, hey, I promise you, if you give me a few minutes of your time, this is gonna save you and your parents a lot of headaches and a trip to the county jail or a registered sex offender. So this is pretty much to give us an awareness of what's going on, in the digital world. Um, what are your kids exposed to? A lot. A lot of times we think, well, I'm gonna give them an old cell phone. It doesn't have any service anyway, but it's got a connection to Wi-Fi. Schools have Wi-Fi. Starbucks, churches, anywhere they go, they can connect to the web. And if it's an old cell phone that we don't control, if it used to belong to us, we don't have those control apps that they have access to. So that's one of the things that we have to be aware when we give them a device. Is social media bad? That's just depending on how you see it, right? I have Facebook. Kids don't use Facebook anymore. We use it to connect to our old friends, high school, people who went to high school. I have family in Mexico and family on the other side of the world. So we use it for, good stuff. However, when you put a cell phone or a tablet on a kid's hands, they can be connecting to God knows who on the other side of the world. And we're going to talk about some of these um, apps or social media applications. Who grew up in the 80s and 90s? Who misses the 80s and 90s? We didn't have internet. We didn't have cell phones. We're here. We made it, right? We didn't have exposure to strangers on the World Wide Web. We had MTV when they used to play music videos and VH1. That was cool. I used to love watching VH1 better than MTV. But those are things, different generations. Me and my wife were talking about, the different generations, that the good, the bad, and the ugly about different generations. And I'm gonna keep on repeating this to what our kids are exposed to through social media. I found this on the Pew Research Center, and this was from 2018. 95% of teens have access to a smartphone, and 45% say they are online almost constantly. That was 3 years ago. I'll be interested to know what that new research shows. And I found very interesting information on commonsensemedia.com. And I'm just going to talk about some of the applications that I've noticed. Some of them I haven't really worked any cases, but I'm pretty sure that, in Shelby County and other agencies throughout the state and the nation, that they've worked a lot of these cases. So Kick Messenger, I don't use it, never heard of it until I started working these cases. And it says stranger danger is an issue. Kick allows communication with strangers who share their Kick usernames to find people to chat with. The app allegedly has been used in a high-profile crimes, including the murder of a 13-year-old girl and a child pornography case. And you can download that app on any phone. I've seen it, whenever I'm browsing through my phone, and it pops up. And it's just a messenger app. So those are things, like I said, social media is not bad. It just depends how we use it or how some of our kids use it. Discord. I had a case where a 12-year-old girl was sending nudes through Discord. I never heard of it until she mentioned it. There was another case where a 11, 12, 13-year-old individual was connecting and was engaging with older individuals through this app. So they're public and private servers or discussion groups. A lot of teens can join public groups, and a lot of kids, I'm sure that you guys seen it, kids use it a lot to talk if they're on, they're playing, they're gaming and stuff like that, to play their video games and whatnot. However, a lot of them use it because they can exchange images, videos, all kinds of bad words and things that younger kids don't need to be exposed to. A lot of them use Discord. Instagram. Who has Instagram? We follow it. We have friends on Instagram and stuff like that. One of the new features about Instagram is that you can share images to their private private messaging, and some of the pictures that you can send, I think they disappear within 10 seconds, images and videos. Those are the things, and I'm going to talk about Snapchat. Those are the things similar to Snapchat. In some of the cases that we've worked lately, it includes Instagram. Tumblr, I used Tumblr when I was in college. I didn't even know that porn was easy to find on Tumblr. When you have a 10, 11-year-old kid that has Tumblr, apparently porn is easy to find through this app. This online hangout is hip and creative, but sometimes raunchy. Pornographic images and videos and depictions of violence, self-harm, drug use, and offensive language are easily searchable through Tumblr. Snapchat, very popular. Snapchat is of the devil. Here again, Snapchat is of the devil. It is. I don't care what face you make. It is of the devil. Um, I can't tell you how many cases we've worked that is through Snapchat. A lot of them with older kids, high school. It's very popular. It's very popular with the kids. But a lot of call it revenge porn or sexting. They use Snapchat because the images or the videos supposedly disappear. And I was telling y'all's kids last week or a couple of weeks ago, they don't go away. If I work a case, and I've worked many cases to where I send a subpoena or a court order to Snapchat, they send me everything. There's some implications sometimes where I can't get everything that I need, but I usually, or a search warrant, I usually get whatever I'm looking for. So that's one of the things that I was telling the kids because they think it goes away. It doesn't. It stays somewhere. It stays on the cloud. It stays on their servers. Also, I mean, if they send something to somebody else, whether they know or don't know, they can take a snapshot of that picture or video, and they use that picture or video to blackmail. Um, we've worked a couple of cases involving adults too. I don't know why adults be sharing their private stuff, but they do too. So just be aware. Whisper, I'm not very familiar with this app, but like it says right here, whispers are often sexual in nature. Some users use the app to try to hook up with other people nearby, while others post confessions, quote unquote, of desire. Lots of eye-catching, nearly nude pictures accompany these shared secrets. Content can be dark. People normally don't confess sunshine and rainbows, and common whispers topics include insecurity, depression, substance abuse, and various lies told to employers and teachers. I haven't worked a case with Whisper, but just like any other social media apps, they have a so y'all know as parents, they have a law enforcement portal to where if we're working a case, we can send them a search warrant or a subpoena, and usually they'll send us. Usually, sometimes they don't cooperate a whole lot, but usually they'll send us what we need whenever we work a case with this. Now, what's trending now among teenagers? And I'm going to be just sharing about what's going on in Pelham. Vaping is really big. A lot of 11, 12-year-old kids, they've been vaping. They've been caught at the schools vaping at the elementary schools. And what's been happening a lot of times, the school resource officer, they take care of the issue. A lot of times, sometimes, um, we write them, whichever officer, gets in contact with them, they'll write them a citation. They'll go to court. And we've had 11, 12-year-old or 11, 12-year-old individuals that go through the court system. The judge talks to them, and they have, of course, the parents end up paying whatever fine the judge orders them to pay. But that's one of the things is very trendy right now. And if you don't know what they're using on the, I was trying to think of the name earlier. What are they using to vape? Juuls. The Juuls, they're not as popular anymore. I don't think I've been hearing a lot. But if you don't know what they are, look them up. I mean, they come. I was showing somebody earlier, or the other group in Spanish. A lot of them look like a USB drive, and they can be carrying that in their pocket, in their backpack. If I look at one of these, I'm like, oh, it's just a USB drive. I don't even think anything about it. But if you don't know what they look like, I have a slide. I'm not going to concentrate too much on this, but I have a slide that it gives, all kinds of different vaping devices. Exposure to sexually explicit content. I don't know why. It's very popular. Middle school and high school, a lot of kids. And most of the time we think it's boys doing it. We've had cases where girls are the ones instigating, or they're the ones sending nudes to other boys. I've talked to the kids last 2 weeks ago, about how to take care, respect themselves, respecting their bodies. And somebody asked me a question, and it was a very good question. And they said, "What if somebody's asking me for nudes?" And that's when when I told them, talk to your parents. They're the only ones who, even though they look like the enemy, because my parents were the enemy number one when I was 15. But although they look like the enemy, they're the ones who are going to be there to save you. Say something, do a report, get a hold of the situation while you can before it gets worse. Cyberbullying, that happens a lot. That's one of the things that we've been seeing lately. The charge that we can depending on the type of the situation, but that can be a charge as harassing communications. Sometimes as parents, we're like, we don't want to mess up the kids' lives, or we don't want to, get involved, but there's an actual charge. And that's one of the things that I told the kids a couple of weeks ago. Possession and dissemination of obscene matter, reproduction, possession and dissemination, pretty much child pornography. Um, One of the things that our Shelby County District Attorney's Office is clear about is that if a boy or a girl sends a picture or video to another boy and a girl, they're gonna charge whoever sends the picture and whoever receives it. That way it's equal. A lot of times, now what if somebody receives it and like, hey, I didn't ask for it? That's where we do forensic interviews. That's what we do. We take their cell phones, like I was saying earlier. We check and download and check their messages and stuff like that. And a lot of times, of course, our kids are going to tell us one thing, but their cell phone is going to show something else. And this goes for adults and kids. Our cell phones, pretty much all of our life is in our cell phones, right? So I tell the kids, you got to be careful with those things. Violence, harassment, harassing communications, sextortion, like I mentioned before, child pornography, minor possession of tobacco products. I haven't seen kids, and I don't know about Detective Sniper or, them carrying cigarettes like we used to when we were in high school. That's not cool anymore. The cool thing to do right now is vaping, minor possession of alcohol, and of course, possession of marijuana. So those are the things that are trending that we are seeing and I just want to say in Pelham. There's other crimes, of course, that happen, but those are the for the majority of the time that is trending among teenagers. Those are what they're using to vape, Juuls, and different devices that they use for to vape. What now? Sometimes we say, well, we don't know, it won't hurt us, right? Eventually it will. Sometimes, as adults, we tend to sweep things under the rug, and we're like, they're gonna grow out of it, they're gonna be okay. As parents, it's our responsibility to talk to our kids about everything that goes on. We say a lot of times, so I'm just going to send them to school. They're going to educate them there and they're going to take care of them. Yes and yes, but it's our responsibility to educate them at home, to talk to them about these things. At school, they're going to learn about math, about history, science, and everything else. So it's our responsibility as parents to teach them about these things that are going on around us. What if I don't know? Google it. What if you come up across a word? What if you're checking your kid's cell phone and a lot of the words they're using, I don't even know. So what do? I Google it. Urban Dictionary. I love it because a lot of the phrases that they're using, it could be like, could mean one thing and then another thing. I have that in my office. I go to Urban Dictionary and I look it up. Google it. Talk to them. Talk to them about sexting. Talk to them about all the implications, about all the issues that are going on around them. We have Detective Schnipper to talk to us about compact.
Good evening. Compact is a Shelby County endeavor to keep kids out of the juvenile justice system and to also keep them out of a life in the future of going down a path of substance abuse or addiction. And to accomplish this, we focus on mental wellness, because we could talk about staying off drugs all we want to, but if we're not engaging the kids on the causative factors of why they become involved in self-medication, then we're not having a real conversation with them. Protective factors are in this room. You guys who are parents and who are watching are the most important protective factor for your children. Your other protective factors in the community are your school with your counselors, your coaches, that teacher that takes the time to really talk to the kids, really goes above and beyond, your doctors, your faith leaders in the community, elders, mentors. These are all protective factors. Compact is an additional protective factor. I'm a Pelham officer. I'm assigned to Compact. We have officers from Hoover, from Shelby County Sheriffs, from Helena, from all over the county. And I am, of course, honed in on taking care of my Pelham people above anyone. But at Compact, if you need our help, how we can help you as parents, every time your child does a behavior shift, and whether it's high risk behavior or they're just being that kind of kid, y'all have to shift your behavior. You're constantly shifting your behavior to chase the child to catch up with their behavior. And there are a lot of parents we deal with where exhaustion sets in. We're adults. We have a lot of things going on in our own lives. Everyone in our unit is a parent. I'm a parent. Most of us have teenagers. So it's not just about a police officer you're talking to. We're just parents like you guys. So if there's anything we can ever do to have a conversation with you to help you develop an action plan of what you may need to do in your household, especially if you're dealing with some high-risk behavior, whether it be just vaping or acting out, and if your child's already involved in any type of drug abuse or substance abuse, we are happy to help you in any way possible with resources. But for the most part, everything's going to come back to our mental wellness. So those conversations y'all have with your kids about stress, anxiety, depression, all these things that we as adults understand, we need to have those conversations with those kids, because a lot of that comes into play. We talk about even vaping. I cannot tell you the number of children we've run into that were vaping, and you would think it was just peer pressure, and it's not. They will tell you flat out, I vape because it calms me down when I have anxiety. That is a real conversation we need to be having with our kids. We're here to help y'all have that conversation. My number is up there, 470-5671. That goes right to my work number. You can email me, and you can call the police department too. But I just want to introduce what we can do for you as a protective factor in the community. Thank you.
We're almost done, I promise. I don't know if you have heard of this website, missingkids.org. It's not only to give you information about missing kids, but they have a plethora of information, resources about internet crimes against children, about like the resources that Detective Snipper was talking about, how to talk to your kids about anything. A lot of the material that I used, they have slides. I mean, for teachers, for community leaders, for churches, they have different slides, PowerPoints. I mean, it's amazing. I didn't even know it existed. I mean, I knew about the website, but I didn't even know they had all this information there. So information's out here for us to follow and to check. Our Pelham City Schools website, they also have a lot of information, what she was talking about, Ms. Thomas, about digital citizenship. I like the phrase, because citizenship, we're all part of it, and it's our responsibility to know about these things that go on around our kids' lives. Bullies Out, I think it's bulliesout.com or .org. They also give a lot of resources about cyberbullying and how to take care of your kids online and with social media. Common Sense Media or commonsense.org or .com, I'm sorry, commonsense.com. It gives a lot of guides, a lot of resources also that you can check and look, so you can learn. I only listed these apps There's a bunch of them. If you Google it, you can find a bunch of them. But I only listed this how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's five of them. Or you can go to top10cybersecurity.com, and you can find all kinds of information about apps that will help you monitor your kids' devices, cell phones, computers, um, iPads, tablets, you name it. A lot of the content is free, but some of it, you have to pay. But to me, it's worth it. If even if you have to pay $10 a month, there's so much a year for a subscription. I think it's worth it for us to know. And a lot of it, I don't know if any of y'all use it, but it sends you notifications about their text messages or the apps that they're using or whatever they're trying to download. This is it. If you have any questions, please call me. I tell a lot of kids and a lot of the parents, a lot of the families, I'd rather you call me now before a situation that you're going to face or that you're facing before it becomes a criminal matter. Sometimes, as parents, as individuals, we think, well, I don't want to bother them. Believe me, just like Detective Schneiper said, it's no bother. If you call or you send an email, it might take us, a day or a couple of days to respond, but we're there to help. One thing that he mentioned earlier, one thing that they used to work with kids, well, not really, it never worked, but a lot of times parents used to bring their kids driving by the ear to the police department and scare them straight. Those types of, what do you call it? Tactics never worked, I don't think, and there's research to show that. But talking about it at home, providing the resources, coming to the police department, talk to us about it. Those are the situations that we're here to help y'all. Thank you very much.